Hi everyone, this is Dango here from Rocky Valley server. In this video, we are going to discuss one of the questions that I recently received from a lot of players. So, which is who should I farm for shard in Langrisser Mobile? We know that farming shard is one of the very good thing for Langrisser Mobile. In this case, in this way, you don't need to summon for extra copies for these characters. You can just farm these characters shard, and then you can build your characters slowly. You can still get them to 5-star or even 6-star in the end. But so who should use farm? So to answer that question, let's first look about the basic principle when farming. So for me, when I try to decide who should I farm, I will set my goal first. For example, my short-term goal is Apex Arena playoff season. So I just calculate how many days are left until playoff season, and then I see how many characters I need to get them to 6-star, and then I make a farm plan. So actually making farm plan is very, very important. If you just farm like random 3 characters every day, it is very hard for you to maximize your efficiency, because if you only farm 3 characters per day, then like for example, if you have a total number of 7 characters you want to farm, after you like farm 6 characters, you will have a certain period of time that you can only farm 1 characters that you want, and then usually it takes longer time for you to really max out these 7 characters. In this case, if you are farming like 7 characters like altogether, you should actually make a farming plan to make sure to like maximize your farming efficiency. Maybe you will not farm 3 characters each day. Instead, you will farm 4 characters each day, and you just reduce the shard per day for some of the characters. Like instead of farming 3 shards per day, you just farm 2 shards per day. So in this case, your overall farming efficiency will actually be increased, because then you don't have that scenario that after you farm like 6 characters, you only have 1 left, and then you can still only farm like 3 shards per day. So this is why you should make a plan. And after you make plan, I really suggest you to make an Excel document just to make sure you can remember what you should farm every day. Sometimes, I have my own like Excel to track this shard farming and also gym farming. So I know that what I'm missing. So if I forget who should I farm today, I just open my Excel and check who should I farm. So this may seems a little bit complex, but if you really take this game seriously, it is never bad to do such things, to make a better plan. Just like if you are trying to organize your work, you do this as well, right? So this is like very, very similar. And then let's move on to who should you farm. So the short farming philosophy starts with farming tank and healers. Tank and healers are both very, very important in this game for both the PvE content and PvP content. So tanks, I'm talking mainly about Juggler and Landius. Some people may use like Lading if they just started. And yeah, these are the main tanks and Vigors, these kind of tanks that you use. You need to get them to 5-star, and you need to get a good healer. So basically, tank and healer are like what's like something you really, really need to focus on early on. And then if you have both tank and healers at 5-star, then you will think about if you are like focusing on PvE or focusing on PvP. So if you're focusing only on PvE, which is least line, then you should move on to get your DPS to 5-star. And usually PvE content is a little bit easier, so you may survive. You may be fine just using a 5-star tank and healer. So in this case, I would recommend you to get a healer first. So actually, I take back my words. You still need healers at 6-star, especially in Ancient Call. For example, T-Areas is especially very, very important in Ancient Call, and you do need a T-Areas at 6-star. So this is why I say you need to get T-Areas 6-star first, and then you need to get Diana 6-star also after you finish T-Areas. And then you should focus on your main and secondary DPS to 5-star, and then instead of continuing working on tanks, you should focus on to 6-star your main DPS. For example, Elven, for example, like Ritual, this can be, for example, Lana. Those are like very, very typical DPS for PvE content. And then you after you do that, you remind yourself to see if you have every like all the team that can counter all the Asian call. Because Asian call, the problem is that all the Asian calls they have different they have different power up factions. So it is not like regular PvE content. You can just rely on the single team and can clear all the challenge, all the other like stories or time rift. You cannot do that for Asian call. You have to have different teams. You have to have different faction characters. So in this case, if the answer is no here, then you go back to this step, right? The healers are still like four healers you mainly use, like Tiarius, Liana, and Iris, and also Chloe. These are still the healers that you mainly use. Maybe not Chloe, yeah. And then yeah, so here you will because you cannot clear some of the other ancient call, so you will go back to that step and then think about what other what other DPS you need. For example, if you are trying to fight H&M, which Lumens recently get a very good like detail on how to prepare for that boss. So yeah, for example, if you finish all the other boss, you still need to finish that one. You should try to get a Norm or like a Bo Matthew ready. So this is really what you should do if you're just focusing on PvE content. But if you like want to play PvP, then still you get your DPS like min DPS to 5-star, and then you also need to get your min tank to 6-star. Tank is very important in Apex Arena, especially in season 2. If you don't have a good season, if you don't have a good tank in season 2, then it is probably not going to lead to any good result. Because the style for season 2, you always need a tank, you always need a good healer. So without a tank and healer, you cannot win a battle in season 2. So this is why I really recommend you to do tanks. And for PvP, Liana is definitely going to be in a much important position compared to T-Areas. So in that case, you will get Liana first, 6-star first, and then you can work on like T areas and or other healers if you are using like Wheeler, like Shadow Jessica, these kind of healers you can work. And then you need to get your secondary tank to 6-star. Yeah, in PvP, tanks and healers are top level importance. Yeah, you should prioritizing in max your tank and healer before you max any other DPS. The other thing for tank and the other thing if we compare tank and DPS is that the tank and healers they usually be very strong for a very long time. For example, Langrisser, Diana, Tiarius, we can predict that they will be top level for a very long time. Even in season 3, I believe they should be still be the top level healers. And tanks, Langrisser and Juggler just a very strong tank. It is hard to design a new characters to replace the role of Landius and the Juggler. So yeah, they are very strong. Always try to max them 6-star first, and then you can try to work on your other DPS to 6-star, and then you can level up some of the supportive characters. For example, Giselov. Giselov is very supportive. First reason is he needs to call faction buff usually. Second reason is because you're like Giselov. Usually, for example, in season 2, he needs to combine couple with other like characters. For example, Yusuke to max their potential. So Giselov is like a very supportive character. You will like focus on characters like Giselov the last. But if you have a chance to level them up and to farm them, to get them higher star, you should still do it. But they are not they don't have high priority here. And then depends on if you plan to change your box, you go back here. When you change box, again, the good thing for tank and healer is that you don't usually change your tank or healers in this game. Tiarius is very good, going to be very good for long time. Diana going to be very good for long time. Juggler and land use is hard to replace for now. Even in season 3, I can't see anyone can replace both Juggler and land use. So it is very safe as always if you focus on PvP to get these tanks to 6-star. And then if you want to change the box, the characters that you plan to change is usually going to be a DPS character or a supportive character. So for DPS, for example, season 1, Lana is very strong. Season 2, there's no summon strategy, so Lana get kicked. And then Varna is an SR character. So in long run, for example, when like level 70 is released, then Varna may not be that good as well. So most of the player is going to kick out Varna as well. So this is the time that you should rebuild your DPS and supportive characters. And then if you feel like you don't need to change box, just try to get everything 6-star. And then you kind of go into a circle. You always want to think about if you want to change your box, because like Zilong is a profit company. They're probably going to release more powerful characters, and it is very like understandable. Not only Langrisser Mobile do that, but also other games they all do that. They want to, when they try to get higher revenue, they design a very good characters for you to summon. So that is the time maybe you have to consider about if you want to change your farming plan, or if you want to change your box. And then if you do, then just go back to the original step. Still see like what are you are replacing. Again, it is not likely you are going to replace land use and jugular and also your healers, but the main characters that you are going to replace is always going to be this DPS. This is also why I give lower priority for all the DPS characters. For example, some people tried very hard to get like Leonhard to like 6-star. I think that's still a very good investment, especially if they want to participate in the playoff season. Leonhard is very good, but Leonhard is not that strong in like season 2. So if you have a really long-term plan, you don't think you can make it to the playoff in season 1, then maybe you can skip Leonhard and just not focusing on Leonhard, because you really need to get your healers and tanks. Again, healers and tanks are very good, are very essential in this Langrisser mobile. So yeah, this is what you should have higher priority on. So thanks guys for watching this video. So this video is a little bit hard to explain. If you have questions, just leave a comments and I will try my best to answer your question. And this is all about this video, and thanks for watching. I will see you guys in next video. Peace.